Hello and welcome once again to another board meeting recap. My name's JD Harden, joined here with my co-host, Mary Elizabeth Davis, Superintendent of Henry County Schools. Hello.
Hey, thanks for having me, JD, and thanks for joining us yet again.
And this month, of course, we're covering all things that took place during our April study session and business meeting. But we also had something of particular importance during this month's meetings, and that was sandwiched in between the two meetings, and that was our budget hearing for our FY20 budget. We had Chief Financial Officer Christy Willis give a very detailed presentation to all the members in the audience. We almost had a packed house. And they were able to really see what the board and, of course, the district leadership team has been working toward as far as setting a budget for the upcoming school year. Great information that was shared, and there was a little bit more discussion in our study session. Can you share with our audience what that discussion entailed?
Sure. So in our study session this month, we had the opportunity to review our budget development calendar. Actually made a recommendation to the Board of Education that they adjust the budget development calendar, and this is really due to some late-breaking information from our General Assembly. The final details of the state budget have been delayed in distribution to school systems across the state, and as a result, we saw this as a responsible opportunity to adjust how we approach developing our local budget. As you know, 60% of our general revenue is through our state revenue source, and the remaining 40% largely comes from local revenue sources, our local property taxes. And in preparing projections for the FY20 budget, it's a very delicate timeline that we await on information from other governing authorities and work closely in partnership to build strong projections. So after adjusting our budget development timeline, we've committed to voting on the tentative budget at the May board meeting. We'll vote on a final budget for the FY20 season in our June board meeting. So we were able to articulate more precise projections based on increasingly valid information flowing from both state and local sources. We were able to articulate the expected state revenue to be approaching nearly $12 million new dollars to our system. This is largely due to school leaders and district leaders partnering for a very dedicated approach to how we report our data to the state. And it also is reflective of the governor's effort to increase permanently the teacher salary rate at the state. So in our conversation with the board, we were also able to articulate a projected 2% local tax digest growth, which actually results in $4 million new dollars to the system. That's good news for a growing community like ours, and we expect the information from both the state and our local sources to firm up near the end of the month. Well, of course, it's important to start considering how are we going to approach our expenditures. And the board had a lively conversation about how committed they are to ensuring that the salary schedules for all employees be addressed so that we remain a competitive district, attract the finest new employees, and retain those fabulous employees that currently work in our school system. Our board acknowledged that the number one impact on a student's educational experience is driven by the people who work in our system and bring learning to life in so many different ways. So the conversation resulted from the board's commitment that the governor's raise be passed along to eligible employees and that we address the salary schedule by honoring the step and approaching a 2% raise for all employees.
A lot of great information, especially the board's commitment to, really focusing on a competitive compensation package
That's
for
right.
all of our employees district-wide. And I think it was well received by those employees and, that were able to hear that presentation. And we know that it will be well received moving forward, as it's always good to show our appreciation and the value that our employees have to our system. Before some of that conversation took place, there were some other items that happened in our study session. One of which was, of course, another monthly recap by our executive director for our facilities and maintenance. Thank you, Josh Malcolm did a great job, of course, really recapping all the construction projects and updates that are taking place all throughout our district. One of which very important to our school system, the safety and security of our school system, which are those security doors that we've been talking about. And those are still slated to be completed before the end of this school year. So when we start the new school year, we'll have those at our high schools. That's pretty big. And then, of course, the turf fields. I think people are really interested in that. 2 more turf fields to go. Eagles Landing High School and Hampton High School should have those ready in time for graduation next month. So really exciting stuff that he was able to share. A few other items were mixed in there. Of course, we had Dr. Raymond Bryant share an update about our code of conduct process for review. But then one of the bigger presentations of the evening was about our strengthening, one of our strategic priorities, strengthening our core business of student learning. And can you share a little bit about what Chief Learning and Performance Officer Melissa Morse did provide for our board and our audience that evening?
Sure. So I think the real important perspective is considering how are we ensuring that from classroom to classroom and school to school, high levels of instruction and high levels of learning are happening each and every day. Well, a big component of that is how do we assess student learning, not just at the end of a year, but all along the way, so that students are demonstrating growth and mastery and progress each and every day they're in our care. So Ms. Morse was able to articulate our plan to ensure that teachers have items for assessments that are developed for them and that they can be pulled into common formative assessments in their already designed classroom assessments. The presentation was really talking about a system of comprehensive assessment so that our assessments aren't actually more, but they are smarter. And that teachers feel like the resources they can pull from in order to ensure that high levels of learning are happening in their classrooms are comprehensive and available across the district. Ms. Morse was able to actually articulate the multiple types of assessments that exist and ensure that we are very conscious of the appropriate use of both diagnostic, formative, interim, and summative assessments. High-performing districts across the country ensure that learning is happening and they can commit to communicating that learning is happening to families. Having a strong assessment system is a part of building that strong teaching and learning system.
An additional item that our board heard from our chief of staff on during that meeting was our plan of action, known as Henry's Plan of Action, a really important component for our board governance team and the superintendent governance team to use in guiding the direction of Henry County Schools moving forward. Really big topic of discussion for this whole past month. It was an informational item last month in our board meeting and the agenda that we covered last month. And this month, the reason it was brought back up is due to the outpouring of comments and participation, feedback that we received, really rich stuff. And can you provide a little bit of that? I think we had somewhere around 400 people that participated in providing feedback.
That's right. So first of all, you know how proud I am of the Board of Education of Henry County Schools for their dedication to pursuing clarity about our governance framework. And the work we have done really since this time last year has been examining what our boards of educations of high-performing districts doing, what are they focused on, what do they build their work around, and it was obvious that we needed to have clarity about our plan of action. The Board of Education has agreed upon core beliefs and commitments and have now built a plan of action that will be codified in policy. The plan of action is really a comprehensive framework to ensure that high levels of performance are happening in each of our classrooms for each of our students in each of our schools. And that plan of action lays out an aligned system for teaching and learning. It lays out an accountability model, a continuous improvement model, and an expectation for leadership. In that policy, we have been able to convene more than 400 different contributors to ways to make the language very customized to what matters in our community, what needs to matter in our schools, and how our board provides stable, strong, lasting leadership, enduring leadership through a policy called Henry's Plan of Action. There were enough modifications to the original drafted language that the Henry's Plan of Action revised version will now be available for public review yet again. If you're interested in reading more, I'd encourage you to review the drafted policy and provide any feedback you would see applicable through our website. And we will continue to engage conversations from business partners, community leaders, parents, teachers, principals, school personnel, students, and you. Your voice in how our district pursues high-performing perspectives is vital and is a great part of the way we do our work together.
Of course, Liz, she mentioned that you can find this policy or this plan of action, if you will, on our website. On the left-hand side, there's a button that says Public Review and Comment. If you go there, click on that, it will take you to that policy or that proposed language, and we hope that you will take a look at it. Very, very rich stuff that we think, we know, when it's all said and done, will help propel Henry County Schools to be the leader in the state that we aspire to be. So right after that, there were several business items that we covered, but we'll talk about those in our next segment, which features more of our business meeting. But sandwiched in between our study session and our business session again was that budget hearing that Ms. Willis provided for the members that were there in the audience that evening. If you missed it this month, don't worry. We'll have it next month, May the 13th. That will be our next date. It will take place at the same time, same place, and same channel, if you will. And we'll have that available on demand as well, but it will take place at 6:30 next month. So please come join us if you weren't able to join us this time. Moving right along into the business session. Really, again, started off with a high note, which was our students. Unity Grove Elementary, big shout out to them. They had students that came and provided inspiration for all the members in the audience that evening. A little bit about the Rosenwald School, I guess, that we have here in our district. So they were able to provide that. And then we had the opportunity to recognize a lot of people. There were a lot of people that come for our awards and recognitions, a big component to our business meeting. If you will, we had quite a few of our employees. We had our Gold Academy, which has the Aspire and Lead 2.0 cohorts. They had several individuals that were recognized during our business session. Moving on from there, we also had the Aspiring Athletic Director or Athletic Administrators cohort. Dr. Kurt Miller does a great job of leading that. Kind of an umbrella, under the umbrella of the Gold Academy, under the direction of Dr. Jolie Harden. They have provided something that's unique, that's actually award-winning, if you will, to really prepare many of our aspiring athletic directors for the work that lies ahead. That was a big recognition. Always great to recognize our students. We had several elementary school science fair winners. They were great coming up there. Some of the projects that they were able to receive recognition for were just outstanding and really something to be proud of. Also, Athletic Directors of the Year that were recognized. We had 3 that were recognized this month. 2 from Luella High School, 1 from Eagles Landing High School. They received recognition, and Dr. Miller, he received recognition at a recent spring conference for athletic directors. He received the Frank Kovaleski Professional Development Award for his work with the aforementioned Aspiring Athletic Directors cohort. And then our last 2 honorees of the evening, both principals, school leaders. We had Mr. Tony Townsend received an award, a distinguished award, if you will, from the Georgia Library Media Association. And then, of course, we had Mr. Eric Watson, the principal at Stockbridge High School. He was recognized for District 76 Outstanding Leader Award that was given by Representative Sandra Scott. And so we were excited to recognize him. The board was there that evening. A lot of them. And guess what? If you think that's a busy month, it's coming next month too. May is always a great month to recognize our students and our employees in the district. But rolling right in, or from that particular portion, we had our business items that we had covered a little bit in detail in our study session, but then the board took action on during this portion. That's where it's all designed to take place. And one of those items was a grading systems policy that was out for review last month, as well as an instructional materials policy that was out for review last month. So can you speak a little bit about what the board adopted at the meeting this month?
Sure. So the Board of Education really ensures that all students have access to exceptional public education through the work of policies. And two of the policies that have been out for public review are important reform policies for our board and for the future of our district. The first of those policies is a grading systems policy. We've actually not had a grading systems policy in place, and it is, of course, an important responsibility to communicate student progress to parents and families so that you are clear and feel confident in your child's learning throughout the year. And there are a lot of ways that that is already accomplished, but we have seen that there is an opportunity for us to improve some of our practices and ensure that families feel highly informed about student work as the year progresses. That grading systems policy is very overarching and will actually direct a subsequent regulation that will follow. The regulation will address matters such as a standards-based report card in our elementary years. It will talk about our GPA calculations, and it will also address how we ensure consistency of grading practices from classroom to classroom and school to school. The meat of that regulation will be forthcoming, and we'll be sure to keep you informed. But that instructional resources policy, which was parallel to the grading systems policy, is another way that our board is making sure that teachers have in their hands what is necessary to teach, and that students have in their hands what is necessary to learn, and that families feel connected to resources that are coming home to extend the learning beyond the classroom walls. That instructional resources policy really ensures that the process for acquiring resources prioritizes a balance of print and digital resources, and it ensures a collaborative contribution from both practitioners in the classroom, our teachers, our paraprofessionals, our educators, as well as community members as resources are evaluated prior to their purchase. Those two policies will stand to ensure that there's increased consistency in the learning experiences across our district, and is going to be a great model for how our board leads into the future.
So in addition to those two policies that our board was able to take action on and approve by unanimous vote during that meeting, we also had two other items that were covered in the study session but were voted on in the business session. One of those was a data center enhancement or upgrade. It was approved previously during our last SPLOS referendum, our eSPLOS 5 for the school system, which we're always grateful for our voters for their support in that regard. That was presented by Dr. Brian Blanton, our Chief Information Officer, and the board unanimously approved that one as well. But then another one, which is just kind of a standard item that we have each year, is of course our copier lease contract. And Ms. Christy Willis, again, our Chief Financial Officer, made that presentation to the board during the study session. They once again unanimously approved that. So one of the last items they get to approve is, of course, our personnel items, in those recommendations. And so I think we have a couple of new employees joining the district. If once the board approved those, can you share a little bit more information about those individuals?
That's right. The board taking action on our personnel recommendations allowed us to invite a few new team members to our team. Of course, it's a comprehensive employment action vote, but I want to specifically point to and welcome Dr. Malik Douglas to Eagles Landing Middle School as our newly appointed principal. Welcome to the team. Welcome back to Henry County, and we are excited for your leadership to be rejoining us. I also would like to thank and recognize Christopher Forehand, who will be serving as our Performing Arts Center supervisor. Congratulations on your appointment, and welcome to our leadership team.
Of course, Mr. Forehand does replace one of our longtime employees, and that would be Mr. Keith Ellison, who is leaving his position at the PAC, retiring. A well-deserved retirement. Keith has done a phenomenal job leading that PAC for the past several years, and so we will definitely miss him, but we're excited for Mr. Forehand to be joining us in that new role. So that pretty much wraps everything up. We did have the opportunity to hear from our board members and share all the good things happening all across their district, which there is a lot of stuff going on. And of course, the month of April, there's a lot of stuff going on this month. Of course, we start our milestones testing, which is always big for our schools and our students, and we know they're going to do a great job this year. Any bit of advice to parents and students as they embark on this next phase of the school year?
Listen, we're in our final chapter of this school year. It's an exciting time to be a student, to be a professional in the education community. And this is really our season where we showcase all of our hard work. I believe in our students. I trust our teachers. I'm incredibly grateful to be a part of an amazing team who believes deeply in students' capability and what they can demonstrate. And I'm looking forward to just celebrating together as we head towards that finish line at the end of May.
Fantastic. And of course, some of the other big celebrations taking place this month. We have a new celebration and recognition this month. It's going to be our School Resource Officers Appreciation Day, April 17th. It's Wednesday. So you know what? They do an important job each and every day to protect our students and our staff. And so if you get the opportunity to see them out in the community or at a school, please share your appreciation for the hard work that they take on each and every day, because when we're running from danger, they're running to danger to help protect us. And so we're greatly appreciative of all of their efforts. I believe this month is Autism Awareness Month. We also have Prevent Child Abuse Month, or Child Abuse Prevention Month. I believe it's also Occupational Therapist Month. And I learned another one. There was our Paraprofessionals Week, and that was celebrated at the beginning of April. So a lot of stuff. If I left somebody out, we do apologize. But we try to be as comprehensive as possible with everybody that does deserve that recognition. Oh, and the people who really make everything happen. And those are our administrative assistants. It's their month, or their month of being celebrated as well. So thank you for all that you do. Each one of these groups has key personnel members that play an important role in Henry County schools.
I mean, that really is true, right? I mean, we are a community that has to come together, and each of the professionals in our organization play a vital role in ensuring that we have exceptional learning experiences for our students. And really, in recent days, we've been reminded of what it really does mean to come together in times of tragedy. Over spring break, we learned of the tragic loss of a young man and his mother, and that young man is a Dutchtown High School student, and our hearts and our prayers and really our thoughts, they are with the Dutchtown community, and really it is a reminder as a larger community of how important we all are to one another. Whenever we lose a young life prematurely, we are devastated. And we continue to think about you, Dutchtown. We are with you, and we continue to keep you in our thoughts and prayers. We also see so many remarkable young people in our community, and actually, at this board meeting, we were able to showcase some remarkable young men and women, actually the young men and women that have served on the Superintendent's Advisory Council over the past year. We've actually convened 4 times over this year, and we've gotten to know each other well, and we've really gotten to tackle some big issues that are important to students, but also important to ensuring that Henry County Schools is the best possible place to learn. Our students were able to present to the board some of the recap of our conversations about how to ensure that we have remarkable teachers and the support that teachers need. How do we make sure we have the best possible first day ever as a school system? And they actually identified some problems that they wanted to solve together. They presented their recommendations for solutions to the Board of Education, and we were really inspired by the young voices of leadership that are right here in our community. It really was an incredibly productive board meeting. Our Board of Education has tackled very important topics, and hopefully you continue to see the progress that we are making as a school system as a reflection of the priorities of our community.
If you can't tell, April's quite a busy month by all the celebrations and, of course, the hard work that is evidenced throughout our board meeting, both the study session and the business session. And if you think it's busy in April, just wait till May. We're moving full steam ahead towards May, and the next time that you join us, we'll be even closer to the end of the school year. At this point, we're a little under 35 days remaining in the school calendar. There's a lot of work to be done, a lot to be accomplished, but there's that prize at the end, and that's when we get to graduate all those students next month. So thank you again for joining us as always. We know there's lots you could be doing, but being here with us hopefully has been informative for you, and we hope that you'll join us next month. Again, J.D. Harden, Mary Elizabeth Davis, we'll see you in May. As is the case with most board meetings, there's a lot more information that you're able to witness being there in person or watching the full version on demand that we're unable to bring to you here in this very short board meeting recap. The links to those presentations and videos can be found in the description section directly below this video.